nigga. Pay for the time, little less than 18. The fuck? So he coming at me like, damn, bro. He know I'm the only one who can get the title. No, he's not supposed to have 8 pounds. He told us he's not late. Go get out. Yo, if he was, if the car got told, and he would have called me and told me your life is not easy, I would have told him, bro, you need to get the rebuild done. You need to get your rebuild done. Yeah, I paid for more than you did. I know, we know. I told him straight up. I already know what's going to say. I already know shit. I paid it. I know.
I thought it was funny and beautiful how the sound of my neighbors fighting was silenced by the ice cream truck. Mary had a little lamb. The ice cream truck is rusty, fully caged, and has a sad painting of an ice cream on the side. I barely see people buy from it, yet it passes every day, even during times of corona. In my neighborhood, nobody really cares. During sunset, all the kids meet up on the street when it's not so hot to play. Somehow I really like that. You're listening to Mundane, a series of audios, videos, text, and images I produce or collect and put together for this ongoing journal of quotidian stories in our everyday life. This episode is composed by a collection of recordings that people sent me during the quarantine from different places in the world. I hope you enjoy. This piece is called Inside.
Even a high volume. Please listen to the following options before making your selection. For questions related to coronavirus disease 2019, press 8 now. For diseases and general health information, including HIV and sexually transmitted disease or infection testing locations, press 1. For vaccines and limiting face-to-face contact with others is the best way to reduce the spread of COVID-19. Social distancing means increasing physical space between people to help slow the spread of germs in a community. When you have to go out in public, stay at least 6 feet from other people who are not part of your household. Stay home as much as possible. Cover your mouth and nose with a cloth face cover. Do not gather in groups. Stay out of crowded places and avoid mass gatherings. Follow local, state, and national government recommendations and orders. Anxiety and fear related to the COVID-19 pandemic can become overwhelming. Yet, there are things you can do to reduce stress and cope during this crisis. Take breaks from watching, reading, or listening to news stories, including social media. Take care of your body. Try to eat healthy, well-balanced meals and exercise regularly. Get plenty of sleep and avoid alcohol and drugs. Make time to unwind. Connect with others virtually when you cannot get together physically. Talk with people you trust about your concerns and how you are feeling. If you or someone you care about is feeling overwhelmed with depression or anxiety, or if you are concerned about harming yourself or others, call 911 or the SAMHSA Disaster Distress Helpline. About 325,000 people in the U.S. are living with HIV. Please continue to hold.
This whole situation isn't that bad. I think we should all do this a lot more.
you heard the last story that was about that my dad wrote. So I was like stuck in the house like for a long time, like a really long time, a really long time, and I was like bored out of my mind.
All right, so here's the deal. So, we've been in New York here during this lockdown, and I'm working from home, but my son is not going to school, and he hasn't played with another kid for 2 months, and at least, and like at all, and he's he's only I don't have any other kids, and his mom and I are divorced, and so he spends half the time with me and half of the time with her, and she lives in a studio apartment, a 1-bedroom studio with a dog, and she works from home, which means that he spends a lot of time just kind of by himself in the house, and and when he's with me, it's sort of the same thing. He has more space, a little bit more, but I work from home too, and so he's really just kind of by himself doing a lot, and so I thought I was feeling like I needed a sort of break from the routine and monotony, and I thought he was definitely feeling that too, so I was trying to think of something to do, and I had this idea I should take him to Dead Horse Bay.
So my dad has this plan, and to go to Dead Horse Bay. So he attached a seat to the top thing of my dad's bicycle, and I'm supposed to sit on it, but there was a problem about it. It keeps tilting sideways.
So I attached the seat to the top tube of my bicycle with these zip ties, so that he could sit on it, and then he could rest his feet on the fork, and I could just pedal and ride the bike, and sort of take him with me that way. Because Dead Horse Bay is about an hour and a half bike ride away, and I didn't want to take the train because we're trying to avoid going outside. We don't really go outside at all, so both of us really hadn't gone out much for for 2 months, and so we were super excited, and we put on our mask and gloves or whatever, and we go out and we go bike riding down. We start just taking all the empty streets, so we're in the middle of the street, and we're just turning wherever the street is empty, no traffic, no cars, no people, right? And
so I put on all my clothes, we put all masks on, and we go outside, and there were a little bit of people, not so much, and then I get on my dad's bike, we ride when we to Dead Horse Bay, and halfway to Dead Horse Bay, there was a street where no one was there, no one. And so we could take off our masks.
eventually we get far enough out into Brooklyn so we take off our masks, and we just started riding down the street with our masks and gloves, because no one's around.
And we walked to Dead Horse Bay, and we almost got trapped. We had no idea which way it was Dead Horse Bay. And for some reason, my dad thought that Dead Horse Bay, it was ocean, and my dad thought that Dead Horse Bay was in this big lot, this empty lot, and I was like, it's an ocean. You can't put an ocean inside of a fence. And then two people walking by, and we asked them where Dead Horse Bay was, and they said that there was a bench up there near the water, and that's where they went, and we said, okay, so but that wasn't what we were looking for. We were looking for Dead Horse Bay. So we were searching for Dead Horse Bay, and there's lots of trees and stuff. So, and then eventually we found lots of boats in this smooth area. Well, and it was a little bumpy, and then we found like this near a bridge. It was like this metal ball, and we locked our bikes up there. And then we went down a street. Like, it wasn't really a street. We found lots of passages there, and we had no idea which is which. Like, which one goes to Dead Horse Bay. And then we went through this passage near where we locked up my dad's bike, and we went like somewhere, and then my dad didn't know if we were going, so we went back out, and then he remembered that we had to go in there, so we went back in there, and it seemed like it would go on like that forever to me. So, and we finally reached Dead Horse Bay.
Then we get to Dead Horse Bay, and and we lock up flags, we sort of find our way down to the water, and Dead Horse Bay is like a place where, like, if you don't know the history, it's like it used to be a dump, like years ago, for New York City. Like it was, a city dump, and then there were like some horse rendering factories there too, which I guess is why it's called Dead Horse Bay. But you could find like old horse bones on the seashore, so it's this like estuary. Part of it is an estuary, and part of it, I think, is this dump, and it's right on the water, so there's like garbage all over, and all these old stuff from like New York, so that's the idea, is like you go there and you can find these old relics of New York City while you're on the water. And then like the glass from broken glass is like on the seashore, but when the tide or when the waves come in, the glass hits each other, all the pieces sort of like collect and bang against them, so there's this kind of shimmering sound, I guess, that's created. And so it's this just real surreal, weird place, like that I thought like would be interesting to take my kids. So I took them and whatever. So we're hanging out, walking around on the water looking for treasures, and then like
there's like these cones, these red cones sticking up off of the ground, and there was like less garbage than I thought. It was like an ordinary beach with like a little bit of garbage still, and on some parts it smelled gross, like really gross. The bird factories. And then we were walking on the sand. We found a little bit of treasures, like 2 pieces of a gun, and then it was almost lunchtime, so my dad went in this field, like there was a long grass there, and then then it was close to lunchtime a little bit, and I was like standing out there in the sea looking for some treasures. So, and then like my dad, and then it was lunchtime, like fully lunchtime.
It gets close to lunchtime, so I figured, we should probably eat some lunch, and I don't want to sit in the sun, so I think like, let's go. I'm gonna go into the sort of like the bushes that are nearby, and kind of set up a place to sit underneath the tree. So I start digging around for things, like, so I find some plywood, some 2x8s, and some buckets, and like, I'm hauling them through the grass, and I'm just walking around in this, what used to be the dump, and trying to set up like this homeless encampment, like to just sit down and like eat with my son, and like under a tree, just chill out, like see the water and stuff, So I was like, it's kind of beautiful, especially considering we hadn't been out for like 2 months. And so at one point I'm getting hot and sweaty, and so I take off my jacket and hang it up on a tree, and I'm just standing there like looking, kind of thinking, okay, time to eat lunch. And I look at my jacket. On the inside of my jacket, I see these 2 red bugs, and I'm like, look up close, and I'm like, what the hell are those?
Then my dad had set up like this thing. He hung up his jacket over a tree, and then he put 2 buckets and a piece of wood under the buckets, and then I went and sat on one of the buckets, and there was these 2 big red bugs climbing all over the buckets. And then my dad like freaked out. He didn't know if they were ticks or bed bugs. He didn't know which is which.
And I think like for a moment, like I'm like, those are bed bugs. I was like, what the hell? There's bed bugs here? And I think like, oh, of course I'm on a dump. Like, of course there are bed bugs. All the garbage has bed bugs in it. So I freak out and I grab my jacket and I start shaking it off and I run to the seashore where my kid is playing or whatever, with all the garbagey feet and stuff. And I'm shaking off my clothes, and a few more of those bugs fall off of my clothes, and then I freak out, and I'm like, they're all over me. I take off my shirt, take off my pants, like, I'm taking off my socks, I'm shaking off everything, and there's like these bugs everywhere, and I'm like freaking, I'm covered in bed bugs. This is disgusting.
So we ran out of the field, and my dad had an idea to sit closer to the water, like the ticks were scared to go close to the water. So we did that but before that he like took off his jacket and he was shaking all of his clothes off, and I saw a few bed bugs fall right off the back of him, and then like there was these small bumps on his back, and then like we saw like some red bugs, some big red bugs crawling on the sand, and we like ran. And my dad had this idea to go under the bridge, and like we had to go under the bridge, but we had to pass these really stinky burnt factories, and it's so gross in there. So we went there and we saw a few of them in the grass, and my dad was like, we have to bring tick spray next time. And I was like, yeah, of course, tick spray, basically tick spray. But do we even have tick spray? And like we went under the bridge, and my dad had this weird idea to sit on the bridge. So then I said, okay, and then I got a little bit scared, but it was okay. And then like my dad had this terrible idea that I really didn't like. It scared me a lot, to sit on a metal ball really high. So I did, and I was like, no, I was like freaking out. I was so high, and like he finally put me down on the first one, and we ate lunch. And the funny thing was, he thought that there were ticks on his balls. Like, and he was freaking out still, like, oh god. He wanted to take off his pants and his underwear and check on his balls.
So then we like, I shake off everything, but at the same time it's lunchtime, and I have my kid with me. I'm like, we gotta eat lunch, right? So I'm like, okay, bed bugs, whatever, I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna set him up to eat lunch, and I'm gonna sort of shake off everything to make sure I don't have any bugs on me. And then I'll just sort of deal with it while he's eating his lunch. And so he's sitting there by the water, and I'm like shaking off my clothes, and I look, and the bugs are all over the sand, and they're walking everywhere. And I'm like, I've had bed bugs before, like in San Francisco, so I know what they look like, but I was like, they're kind of weird, like they sort of change, there's like different shapes, different shaped bed bugs. They're not all the same shape. And like, So I'm like, I realize that they're where my kid is sitting. They're on our jackets. I'm like, my backpack. So we freak out, and I'm like, we need to leave now. But we're out in the middle of nowhere, right? Because it's like there's nowhere to go, and we're an hour and a half from home. It's lunchtime. It's hot. I'm covered in these bugs. I start freaking out. I start feeling like they're like on my balls. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Like, I don't know what to do. So we go, I find this bridge, and we go sit under the bridge because there's no bugs under the bridge, right? So we're under the bridge. I'm climbing the bridge and like trying to take off my clothes, shake off all the bugs. My kid is sitting under this bridge, eating his lunch on the rafters beneath this huge highway bridge, right? And he's scared because he's like, why are we up here so high? And like, what are we doing here? And so then we eat lunch or whatever, and then we go home and race home, and we take off all our clothes, we throw them in the freezer for like a week, and then, and before we left, actually, I pointed out a bug to some people, and I asked, are they bed bugs? Is that a bed bug or is it a tick? And they were like, no, those are ticks, those are adult ticks. And I was like, crap, I was like, maybe I got bit by a tick. And they're like, it's only the babies, I guess, that are poisonous that can give you Lyme disease. So I was like still freaking out. So we went home and showered, and I checked myself, like checked my kid, and like, I don't know, hopefully nobody got bit by a tick. And I don't think it was a bed bug. I don't have any bed bugs. So that was our story.
Ingênia, ingênia, agora ingênia, macala ingênia, ajunsum araie olo ingênia, wacaló. Sapatara yelo ingênia, wacaló engenharaí, ingênia, ingênia, agora ingênia, macaló ingênia. Ajunsum araie olo ingênia, wacaló, sapatara yelo ingênia, wacaló engenharaí. Today is Monday, April 13th. I'm in Salvador, Bahia, Brazil. And I would like to tell the story of Omolu, the Orixá of the diseases and also the Orixá of the cure. In this moment of uncertainty about our physical health, we worship, we honor Omolu, members of Candomblé and other Afro-diasporic religions believe Omolu is the Orixá who has the power to heal, to take any disease away from the planet and from us, beyond the doctors and the science. So this Orixá wears straw from head to toe, and he's the mystery. He never lets himself be seen. The story begins with Nanã, the oldest of all Iabás, of all mothers. And she created humanity, but she wanted to have a child for herself. However, she was too old for that. So she searches for the destiny, and she found the destiny and places her request. The destiny looks into her eyes and asks if she was sure of that request, and she responds yes. So she receives guidance on how to make a ritual, and she finally managed to become pregnant. She prepares everything carefully for the arrival of the baby and then begins labor. Everything was well until she looks at the baby that had just been born. He was ugly and had many wounds all over his body. He was born scratching, itching all over. And Anna got terrified. No, she cannot accept that son. And she says that she would rather had given birth to an animal. She didn't know that she was pregnant with twins. And then the second child is born. And when she looks at the second baby, he was a beautiful one, and she was relieved. She was happy to have a child as she desired, and she pushes the first child away with her foot. But when she returns to embrace her beautiful son, he turns into a golden snake and disappears into the woods. She got upset and she's forced to stay with her ugly son. She tries to accept her son for 14 days, but she cannot, and she decided to look for a place to leave him. So Nana walks to the edge of the sea, and she feels that she could leave him on the rocks. She feeds him one last time and abandons him, wishing someone would find him and to take care of him. The time passes and the baby becomes hungry again, so start crying loudly until a woman listens to him and approaches him. She is Iemanjá, the queen of the oceans, of the salty waters, mother of the orishas, of all orishas. Her breasts become full of milk, and she extremely happy to find a baby, now a child for her, so she starts feeding him. Iemanjá transforms herself into fish and into human to take care of that child, and the boy grows up and starts realizing that she's not his real mother, and that curiosity grows, and he decided to look for his mother and runs away. But he only knows the beach, and then he gets lost on the way and starts crying loudly again, and Iemanjá managed to find him. That was when she decides to cover him with straw entirely, leaving only part of her hands, of his feet and his eyes exposed. No? When they arrive anywhere, people would be curious. The population wanted to know why such a beautiful woman would hide her child like that. So people start asking Iemanjá respectfully why she was doing this. So Iemanjá replies that she covered her son because he was the most beautiful son in the world. So the population asks her to see him, and she agrees, and she opens the straw of her son's face in a magical moment. She passes palm oil on his skin to help soothe his wounds, to relieve his wounds. And at the moment she opens the straw, the sun was warm and bright, and the sun's rays were just reflecting on his face, making an intense light shine, and then his face turns golden because of the palm oil. And he turned to be a golden boy, and the population is amazed and recognize him as the most beautiful son in the world. So Atoto, that's how we salute him, Atoto. And every Monday we make offerings to Omolu. We put doburu, pipoca, popcorn, and the popcorn represents these wounds, and we call it flowers because it transforms into flowers. No? So we also say that we also take flower bath. No? That's how we say banhos de pipoca, banhos de flor. And yeah, always asking him for mercy and compassion for the whole world. Atoto, atoto.